Hi, everybody. Bryan Broaddus, and welcome to The Stack, our weekly look at all things NFL draft. Joined here today by my scouting buddy, Zach Wolchuk, my also radio partner on 105.3 The Fan. Appreciate you, brother. Aisha Morrison out on assignment today. She's probably running down some information for us about McCoy.
Yeah, she's meeting with some family members.
She's doing something where she's kind of figuring some things out. But I know Aisha will probably be listening today, and so we'll see you back next week. Zach, there's a lot going on. You know, we're into the pro days, and we're going to carry this thing. We talked about pro days going on until the end of the month, and I think the last pro day will be the Indiana Hoosiers, the national championship Indiana Hoosiers on April 1st, and then everybody will be into their scouting mode of getting ready for the draft.
Right.
Man, a lot being said about the Georgia Pro Day from a couple days ago, and C.J. Allen not running to 40, but doing all the positional work. Cowboys sent a contingency of scouts, coaches to Athens to take a peek at this particular workout. And I kind of wanted to ask you, if we never get a 40-yard dash on C.J. Allen, excuse me, I got emotional talking about that. We never get if we don't
choked up, huh?
Choked up. If we don't get a 40-yard dash on C.J. Allen,
oh man,
are the scouts gonna have a problem? Because old crusty guy last year had a problem with Will Johnson, and I never got a time on Will Johnson. I think it affected Will Johnson where he was drafted. He was picked in the second round, but he played well. As somebody, as an evaluator, is it going to be a problem for you? And should it be a problem for the Dallas Cowboys potentially drafting him?
Man, it's something that I would love to get, right? I think that you want the 40, but I also think that when you watch C.J. Allen on tape, some of the stuff yesterday with the movement, and I mean, some people were just really, really dogging on him for how he looked. And then I think the more thing is the medical, right?
Yeah.
'Cause he has like swelling in the knee.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I get that. I understand why he's not going to run the 40. It might just be he doesn't want to put a bad time out there. He went out and did the drills and did as much as he could. And really kudos to him. I mean, he might have been able to just say, hey, I'm going to punt on this thing. My knees are not right now.
Right, sure.
So he went out and competed and did what he could. I'm not going to totally knock him for not running the 40. It's certainly something that you'd like to have that information.
Right.
But I feel like you kind of know what C.J. Allen is, and I think that he's just a good downhill player.
Okay.
And he plays well in space, but I didn't look at a guy that was like some world-class athlete. So when you saw some of the stiffness in the way that he moved yesterday, at least in my opinion, I wasn't really shocked by it. That kind of matches the player that I saw.
See, that's what I was going to ask you, because I'm looking at this and people are freaking out. You're right about, man, he doesn't look like he's moving well. He doesn't. Go back and watch the player. I mean, I know he was one of the very, very early guys that I know I studied.
Yes.
One of the first linebackers I studied back in November, December was C.J. Allen. And I went back and see if your notes say the same thing. That all of a sudden, you said this, we'll play downhill. Can square up the ball carrier. Great sideline to sideline ability. Plays through the echo of the whistle. These are all things I'm saying. If he has a weakness, would not call him a great man cover guy.
Agreed.
Yeah. Snaps where you see him struggle to stay in phase with more athletic targets. Also said this, could show some lower body tightness when changing directions against misdirection plays.
Yeah.
People were freaking out on a workout yesterday. This is how the guy plays on tape.
Right.
This is how he plays on tape.
He's not the oily hip guy. He's not Sonny Styles.
Not. Yeah, he is not the most fluid moving guy. And so to me, I've always had this player, when I stack him, if I have 14 first-round grades, he's going to stack outside 14.
Yeah.
He was always going to stack outside 14. And as we started to learn more about Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
Let's go.
As we started to learn about Hill from Texas.
Yep.
Different guys kind of came into like, well, maybe better. Maybe I like this guy. Maybe but the tape guys and gals out there, you studied it. You shouldn't be up in arms. As they say, you know. You watched this player play. You saw tightness. You saw some coverage problems. But you also saw a damn good downhill player.
Absolutely.
A physical player. You saw a guy that played with a lot of passion, a lot of instincts, a lot of smarts. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are talking about this guy, because of those things. But don't act surprised out there if you're like, well, the workout didn't look great. Oh, the tape told you he had some issues. Mm-hmm. That's why the tape's really important to me. But you know what? I'd be a hypocrite if I said if I didn't get a time, because I was all over Will Johnson about not running.
No, you want that 40.
I was all over him.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because I love numbers. And I love numbers from an aspect, I don't know the metric stuff. Listen, I'm learning about metrics and, quarterback this and rating that and all that. I get it. But the metrics that I've always grown up with were height, weight, speed. Mm-hmm. I've grown up with the short shuttle. At one time, the 60 shuttle, which now has been replaced by the 3-cone. Back pedal and turn and time and all that's all new to me too. But I grew up in an NFL in the 90s where we took combine numbers and compared them to other players. Mm. So, yes, I'd love for C.J. Allen to run and get a 40-yard dash time so I can compare him to everybody else.
Yeah.
So I can compare him.
Especially the other linebackers, right?
The linebackers.
Rodriguez crushed it.
So I can compare him.
I'd like to kind of get the same times. I think that's totally fair. I guess I'm just going to give him a little bit of a pass because of the knee, but maybe I'm being too nice.
All right, let me ask you this.
Maybe I'm coddling him a little bit here.
No, maybe you are. Maybe you're coddling him.
I'm also not going to draft him because of that.
You're going to take Rodriguez is what you want.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'd take him.
There's a lot of momentum for Rodriguez at 20. If you're a Cowboy fan, we're talking about you right now. If you're a fan of another team and you want to draft Rodriguez, that'd be a great pick. But I'm saying this, though. It is more troubling to me not having a time. Mm. Is there really something with this knee?
Yeah.
Is there something? Are we going to be dealing with? You draft him in his week 10, and now it's very similar to what, say, Tyler Smith was dealing with. Mm-hmm. With the Cowboys. All of a sudden, week 10, we're not playing at a high level. We can't play. And by the way, we all know this. Cowboys need linebackers.
Yes.
Cowboys need linebackers. If you're another NFL team out there and you need linebackers, you're in the same boat with the Cowboys.
Sure.
You need linebackers. But I'm saying maybe not the 40 times important to me. That medical is.
That medical is really important.
Really important.
Especially when you have a guy in DeMarvion Overshown who you
have healthy linebackers.
Yeah.
You have healthy linebackers. That's the biggest issue.
It's a concern. When you talk about the testing and the lingering knee swelling is it kind of has me
terrifying.
It's a red flag.
Yeah,
it is. And you got to look, the Cowboys and other teams across the league, they've all got medical professionals and they're all really good. We just saw what happened with Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Right? So and that was also, it's a meniscus tear. Yeah. And that's what C.J. Allen's coming back from. So it could be nothing. It could be something where he goes into camp and he's totally fine and the knee's good to go. But especially if you're talking about a Cowboys team that's like, we're not taking a Jermod McCoy because we don't want to go with the injured guy. Well, Jermod McCoy doesn't have this kind of stuff going on.
See, this is what bothers me too. And we've talked about this, and we've missed you this week on the G-Bag Nation. But I asked Gavin and Eric and Luce. I asked them. I said, "Hey, is this a bad time for Cowboys not to be looking at injured guys?"
Right.
Because with McCoy, if McCoy goes out there, and I'm like Nick Harris. Nick Harris, I heard some of the same things that Nick Harris. And Nick, I think, is really, really good at his job. But if the Cowboys just completely eliminate that corner, and if he works out and he runs in the low 4.4s and he run maybe 4.38 and he works out and all that, and they say, nah, not today. We're good. Not today. I have a problem with that. But I'm also saying, though, if Dr. Cooper and the medical team feel like that the need, listen, you start eliminating guys, and all of a sudden now you eliminate McCoy, you eliminate Allen. How many other guys are there that we don't know about?
Right.
And this team needs, and maybe this is where Rodriguez comes in. Maybe this is where all of a sudden, it's like, well, hey, if all things being equal, that they say we would take the healthier guy over the guy who is injured. So keep an eye on all that as we go forward. C.J. Allen, Georgia Pro Day, no 40-yard dash, probably not going to get a 40-yard dash.
Yeah,
probably not going to get a 40-yard dash. And I wonder how many others are not going to. And there's guys that absolutely didn't work out at the combine that they're going to say, well, we'll just do our pro day, and then they do the same thing that C.J. Allen just did. And then we don't have a 40-yard dash, which for an old scout, that's kind of hard. All right, shifting gears. The Athletic. Our buddies over there, like John Machota over there, they had a mock draft. And I'm interested to see as we walk through this, and you're going to walk us through it, and how does this thing bode well for the Cowboys, or is there, man, this is exactly how it's – and listen, I have the utmost respect for the beat writers because they're the ones living with the team.
Right.
John Machota, Todd Archer, Calvin Watkins, Clarence Hill, these guys and gals, Hoyt, Joseph Hoyt,
Nick Harris.
They all live with the team. They're there every single day with the team. Training camp, practices. They even go out and talk to when Dak Prescott's doing charity work. Or Jerry Jones is at the Arlington the race.
Oh, the Grand Prix. Yeah.
Grand Prix this weekend. They are there asking questions of these folks for you, is what they're doing. So when they do mock drafts and stuff, they're talking to people, is what they're doing. Zach, walk me through this one.
All right, so number one, it's not really a shocker. It's Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback from Indiana, going to the Raiders. All right, we can pretty much put that in Sharpie right now that Fernando Mendoza is going to be the number one overall pick. At 2, the New York Jets, Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State. So, boom, there's your first defensive player off the board.
Right.
I like what the Jets did there. Zach Rosenblatt, actually a friend of the G-Bag Nation. We've had him on before, makes the pick there. Francis Malinois.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle, Miami. I think we agree. Best tackle in the class.
Yep.
Goes to the Cardinals at 3. And Arizona in desperate need of an offensive lineman. You can take your pick, whether it's Malinois or Fano. That seems to be where the Cardinals are going at 3.
Right.
Titans take David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech. Now, this is a team to circle just from a Cowboys lens because Tennessee, there's a lot of buzz. Maybe they go Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame.
Right.
If they don't and they go with the defensive player, that is going to hurt. So now you got to run here with Arvell Reese gone, David Bailey gone, 2 of the best edges, in my opinion. I've got them 1-2 in this class. They're off the board.
Yeah.
At 5, the Giants. And it does seem like the Giants are probably taking Styles or Downs.
Okay.
Now, there's reports out that maybe Mansour Delane is a guy that we need to monitor there as well. Could they have interest in the LSU corner? They need corner help. But they take Sonny Styles, the linebacker from Ohio State, goes to the Giants there at 5. I also wonder, Jeremiah Love?
Yeah.
Possibly there too?
Yeah.
I mean, 4 and 5, I think I am going to be surprised if Jeremiah Love slides out of the top 5. I really am. And I think that you might have – you've got Harbaugh there who wants to run the ball. You've got – and I don't know how much their general manager has any control anymore, but he's probably got regrets over the Barkley situation.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Do they end up wanting to go with Jeremiah Love? But Sonny Styles, phenomenal pick. Monroe Freeling.
See, this is the one.
Yes.
This is the one that's got me. And folks, I'm going to admit to you. I do not have a great handle on this offensive line group. I don't.
Well, it's not as good as it has been in the
Well,
last couple of years.
it's not because they're not good. I'm having a hard time as like, okay, I'm having a hard time as comparing them to former drafts.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm having a hard time like, oh, this is a first round guy.
Yeah.
Freeling from Georgia might be a first round guy. I don't see him that way. I do not see him. If you put him in previous drafts and there were 5 people, he would be number 6 on a lot of tackles boards. So I'm being honest. I don't have a great handle. I think I have an idea where I would take these guys.
Right.
But I might have some of these guys might turn out to be really, really, really good players. Some of them might man, you're taking that guy at the one guy I seem to have a really good feel for is Miami's Mawanoa. And our young man from Arizona State.
Oh, Max Ianachor?
Ianachor.
Yeah, he could end up being the best tackle when it's all said and done. His story's amazing.
But this draft is like Max Ianachor.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's an unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, not the draft, the offensive lineman part of the draft.
Yes.
So, I mean, all these linemen to potentially we're at Cleveland,
right?
Arizona.
Cleveland seem like the 2 spots that could go. And Freeling, I think, is the best true left tackle.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The 2 best tackles are right.
But would you have him in the top 10?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't have him.
And the first time I saw this, Dane Brugler had him picked at 25.
Yeah.
That was months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I think he is a good athlete. I think he's a high IQ player. I think he can climb to the second level. I think he's got some violence with the way he plays.
Yeah.
But he's just not a natural knee bender. You know, he can play a little bit high. And he's super tall. But I think he sustains blocks really well. He's got long arms, broad shoulders. He's a difficult player to get around. So I like him, but I wonder if he's going to get pushed up because if you need a left tackle, I don't look at Fano or Mawanoa as guys I can kick over to the left.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, there's some that might say that they're going to be a guard.
Yeah.
I think both are tackles, but some might want to kick him inside. But Freeling, I just wonder because of the true left tackle, is that why you're seeing him go 6 overall to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Caleb Downs then goes 7 to Washington. Ugh, that's a tough one right there. And they could also go wide receiver, possibly, if they want to get a compliment there for Terry McLaurin writes. Nikki Jabavala? I don't know how to say that last name.
Nikki,
great job. New Orleans takes Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Okay, once again, we do not know what wide receiver is going to be.
Take your best guess.
Take your best guess there.
9, Kansas City Chiefs, Ruben Bain Jr., edge, Miami. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
And Kansas City, I'm seeing quite a bit connected to Ruben Bain Jr. They could also go corner there. They lost a couple in free agency. 10, Cincinnati takes Jermod McCoy.
Okay.
The corner from Tennessee.
Let me be honest again. And I wish Aisha Morrison was with us today because she would fight like hell for McCoy to be here. She loves.
You go at 10.
Well, she would fight for him to be here. Like all this talk about me going, well, I don't know. I don't think they want to deal with the injury. I don't think they want to deal with that. But let me tell you this. I talked to her about this last night. There's a side of me that's kind of like hoping he gets drafted before Dallas picks.
Oh, I'm so happy that he did. I don't want them to have to.
I do not want them. This is selfish. This is the selfish Bryan Broaddus talking to you guys out there right now. I don't want it to come down to them having to make a decision on him and then them pass.
Yeah.
And then I get just violently mad at him.
And then he ends up being an all-pro and is incredible.
I don't want to do it.
What guys, why'd you overthink
I don't want to be that guy.
Sure.
I do not want to be that guy. So to me, if he goes to Cincinnati at 10, fake pin throw.
Yeah.
But in real life, I'm happy that Dallas. I just don't want Dallas. I don't want this kid to work out and run 4.38 or 4.39 and do all the drills and all that, and he's there and Dallas passes on him. Especially if Delane is gone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
If Delane is gone early and we get to 12 and McCoy's on the board and he's done everything workout wise, and Dallas passes on it for somebody else, I'm going to have a problem.
Yeah, and look, I get it because the tape in 2024, he's the best man corner.
But
in the
they'll
class.
tell you they're probably going to not pass. Pass on.
Because the ACL tear. I don't understand if he goes and works out there at the pro day on March 31st. And he checks off all the concerns, all the boxes.
Yeah.
How do you not reassess?
We've done shows about this.
Like I don't know how when you get that new information, you can say right now we're not going to take Jermon McCoy.
Yeah.
But if he does go out there and your scouts are there and you get a firsthand view and you see him moving around and everything looks good and the acceleration, the burst, all of that's there. He doesn't seem like he's lost anything mobility wise. I don't know how you pass. That's what you need. You just need to see him physically. How is he moving?
Yeah.
And is he going to be ready to hit the ground running and come into rookie mini camps? Because that's the difference.
If he works out, he should be ready to go.
Right.
He should be ready to go.
I believe he will be.
Okay.
So McCoy,
He goes to Cincinnati at 10, right?
Yes, he does. Spencer,
and I'm okay. That's okay.
The Utah tackle goes to the Dolphins at 11.
Okay, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Boy, that got pretty close to you there, didn't it?
It did. And you're sitting there now with Jeremiah Love is still on the board. He is slid to 12. Delane is there, of course.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of offensive players, but the best defensive player, without question, you've been fortunate that Delane has slid to you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm pretty stunned that Jeremiah Love is here. I don't know that
Would you take him over Delane?
I wouldn't. Jeez, Brian. This is the issue because he is going to stack ahead of Delane.
Yep.
He is.
Well, he's going to stack ahead of Delane, and if you were really doing this where you were taking best available player,
yeah.
But we know teams take best available player
based on need.
And
Delane, I do think Delane's the best corner in the draft. I've got him slightly ahead of McCoy.
Would you kill them being the Cowboys?
Yeah.
If it came down to Delane and Love and they took Love?
I wouldn't kill them. No, I wouldn't. I would prefer them to take Delane because I think that he's the best corner and they've got a massive need there. But I do have Love as the better player. So you're sticking. It's basically like CeeDee Lamb falling to you at 17.
Yeah.
Where CeeDee Lamb is far and away the best player on the board. Did you have a need at wide receiver? No, you didn't. And everyone thought it would be Caleb Elarms-Orr, the edge that ended up going to Jacksonville, right? And finally just broke out with New England. I think he's on his fourth team now. It hasn't been great. So that worked out that they stuck true to their board. But, Jeremiah Love would be a tremendous pairing to Javonte Williams. He's the home run hitter that you really lack.
Would this have the history of coming down and taking Zeke?
A little different, right? Because this is outside the top 10.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that I think
you had a chance to take the safety there, that the kid.
You could have taken Jalen Ramsey.
Could have taken Ramsey.
Could have taken Ramsey.
Is this that history? Is this the repeat of Ramsey? Is Delane and Love the history repeat of? And listen, they weren't going to take Ramsey because they didn't know what position to play Ramsey.
Safety or corner?
They didn't know if he was a safety or a corner.
Yeah. I would be taking Delane here. I would do what John Machota did, and that is take Delane. And he actually writes in here what we were just talking about,
right?
Where you had that 2020 draft and Lamb slid to you. And
2016, wasn't it?
2016 was Zeke.
Yeah.
But 2020, when you had Lamb slide, and they passed on Caleb Elarms-Orr, took Lamb, that would be, I think I would still just take Delane here. As much as I do love Jeremiah Love.
I do too.
I do.
And you're right. He's going to stack higher.
He is. I think he's probably 3 for me. Third best player in the draft, in my opinion. Yeah. Mekhi Lemon goes to the Rams at 13. That's the second receiver off the board.
Yeah.
Love goes to the Ravens. Jeremiah Love goes to the Ravens.
Of course he goes to the Ravens.
Yeah, right. And that's, there you go.
That's a strange pick, though, right, for the Ravens?
There's Derrick Henry sitting there at 32 years old. I guess you've got your
back,
your predecessor. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, goes 15 to Tampa.
About where he probably needs to go.
There is some fan base that would not mind a Kenyon Sadiq at 12.
Yeah.
I would
Dallas Cowboy fan base?
Yeah, I would not do that. But he's a fun player. He is a fun player. And Tampa Bay, they could use him. Jets go with Jordan Tyson, Allen's own wide receiver out of Arizona State. Caleb Lomu, the offensive tackle from Utah, goes to the Lions at 17. Dylan Thieneman, this is to the Vikings.
Vikings safety. I had somebody ask me today on Twitter, a fan, and I appreciate the question. I'm sorry I don't remember your Twitter handle. Asked me, would you trade back to Minnesota? Let them come up. Would you trade back to Minnesota and do it for the edge rusher there, Grenard? Do it for, you trade the pick, but you get Grenard and a 5th-round pick.
Creative. I like that.
Yeah. So you would use Grenard as the trading piece. And I mean, instead of giving a pick,
right,
you use the player as the going from 18 to
12.
Yeah.
I'd be totally in on that. I also wonder if Jeremiah Love is there at 12. Is there a team then that would be interested in moving up? I mean, I threw this out to you about Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle's
Johnny
Schneider. John Schneider loves his running backs.
He loves some running backs, yeah.
Walker. The problem is I don't know that they've got the ammunition to make that.
They really
big move.
don't. They don't.
Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, Alabama, goes to the Carolina Panthers at 19. So the Cowboys on the board here. You've got C.J. Allen. You've got T.J. Parker, the edge from Clemson, who Nick Harris actually just mocked to the Cowboys today. Brian, T.J. Parker is...
Does it make your draft sad?
I could end up looking like a fool.
I think we all could.
I have T.J. Parker in the 3rd round.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
And he is so... I get it. If they were to take him at 20, there are times where you see a really good player on tape. You do. There are other times where he is non-existent.
Yeah.
He's just not impacting the game. Yeah. And I don't know. It's similar to his teammate Peter Woods. I don't know if that was a Clemson thing. I don't know if
they had some issues.
Thing.
They had some issues.
Scheme-wise, did they switch things up? Were they asking them to do different things? Because both of them, you go back and watch 24, different type of players. But T.J. Parker, I get the traits. I understand that. And there are moments where you see it and you're like, there's the guy. But gosh, that's a terrifying pick for me.
Yeah.
Because I almost would rather just go safe and take a play. Because he does have, he could hit for you and end up being a star. But he could also be, and I don't like using the B word.
Yeah.
But he could be. He could be one of those swing and misses there in the first round.
Absolutely.
So the Cowboys end up taking, per John Machota, C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia here at 20.
So end up getting the linebacker that they needed. Okay. Well, that's that. All right. Let's transition to something.
Let's do it.
The final bit of time we have here today. That's a good job. I think picking C.J. Allen makes a lot of sense there. I wonder if people are we're talking on board about picking C.J. Allen at 12.
Yeah, that's rich.
Yeah, that's rich.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. But hey, if it's their guy, sometimes you get aggressive and you just want to make sure you get your dude.
Yep, you got that right. Wooly, let me ask you, would you rather? I always like to do these would you rather kind of situations. And let's talk about some of these defensive players.
Okay.
Would you rather Taurean York, linebacker, A&M, or a guy, Elarms-Orr, from TCU?
This is so tough. I think Taurean York is the better football player today right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're talking about 5'11", 226, but he's a linebacker. He's filled out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little bit shorter. But Temple High School, that's been a hell of a program in the state of Texas. If he was a few inches taller, Taurean York would probably be a first-round pick.
Right.
When you watch him, he's incredibly smart. The instincts, the ability to read and react are off the charts. He can sniff out the screens, delays, short area burst and quickness, good tackler, makes plays in space, solid blitzer. He's got a knack of avoiding contact, which I think is pretty darn impressive. Mm-hmm. But you do see the size show up if you get a lineman on him. Uh-huh. That's where, the ability to stack and shed and the size, that'll hurt you. He struggles in man coverage. He's not a guy that I really want. And I think that we're saying this about a lot of these linebackers. But he's a super high motor guy, and I'm a big fan of his. Kaleb Elarms-Orr, this guy at 6'2", 234, man, he was a transfer from Cal, played his first 2 years, missed his freshman season due to injury. Started 26 games at TCU over the last 2 years. He broke out this year. And you see it, you can kind of see it click for him when you watch him play. He really... It slowed down, I think, and his game kind of reminds me of Overshown a little bit.
Okay.
I put that in my notes when I watched him play, kind of the way he moves. You can see him rush off the edge. He can pressure the quarterback. He really was brilliant in coverage in the USC game.
Right.
That's the difference between these two. I think Elarms-Orr is a better cover guy. He will jump the wrong gap at times. He'll be a little bit aggressive. I just think projecting ahead, I think I would go with Kaleb Elarms-Orr. He's the bigger guy. I think he's a better athlete, and I think you're starting to see it when it comes to the game slowing down and it really clicking for him. But today, that's the tough thing. I think Taurean York is the better football player. Yeah. I've kind of comped him to Ivan Pace Jr., who we loved coming out of Tennessee a few years ago. But they're literally tags touching, basically, on my board. But I think I'd lean with the TCU linebacker here, and that's a tough one.
Is this a guy, these players you're talking about, at 390, 392, or when the Dallas pick there, from San Francisco, is that 390?
Yes, it's 392.
392.
I think I would be looking at him 4-1-14.
Okay, so we're talking fourth round guys.
I got fourth round here on that.
Gotcha. The thing with Elarms-Orr, I thought this guy was Shamar James.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see. I saw some problems with his instincts.
Yeah.
With this guy, and I remember it was Shamar James coming out of Florida. This guy had 4 sacks for TCU.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking and that's kind of what Shamar James was like. If you watch him in Florida, no one sees but rush the passer. Don't put him in a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
Don't put him but man, I like the player, but I think he'll struggle. Like the play action stuff was a problem for him. He was kind of always looking around.
Yeah, he'll bite.
I was worried about him. I think the build, I think the burst, I think the twitchiness of his game is really, really good. But man, you could see him struggle with some of the reads and losing track of where the ball is and things like that. I thought a little bit of Shamar James.
Okay.
When he was coming out of.
I think that he showed, because every game I watched, I went Arizona State, BYU, USC, and the USC game, which was their bowl game in the Alamo Bowl, he's defensive MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an incredible game by him.
Sure.
But I saw, similar to Sonny Styles throughout the year.
Yeah.
I thought he got better. I thought he started seeing it and things were clicking for him. And so the instincts, I thought, week in and
got
week
better.
out, they improved.
Yeah.
Whereas Shamar James, it was kind of the same thing every game that I watched.
That's fair.
So for him, I think he can get it. I think that he can process and he can learn and improve in that area. Whereas Shamar James, I thought, was just kind of a really good athlete and a good downhill player.
Yeah. Maybe like you say that you're talking about the USC game and stuff like that.
I mean, that's it is a hell of a game, but you also don't want to overrate just one game.
Sure. And the thing with Taurean York is, for somebody we need to go back and look at. I could sure look at. I should have done that while you were talking, but the numbers we were working with was 5'10", 227 from the springtime. Mm-hmm. So I just wonder for a guy that size, I was kind of expecting a little bit of a guy that had a little bit more quickness and a little bit more burst.
Okay.
I didn't see that particularly with this guy.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. For somebody, I was sitting there thinking, man, this guy's, you think about a shorter guy, lighter guy, that he would be a little bit more. Yeah, he's the numbers are 5. He's going to be 5. It's actually going to be 5'11" and 226 pounds is what you're getting. You got 25 times though on the bench.
Yeah, he's strong.
He's a strong guy. But see, I just thought you'd see a more quick, more explosive, more burst.
I totally understand that. And the one thing with him is the intangibles as well.
Yeah. No.
Like he started as a true freshman at A&M. That's a leader.
Oh, no,
that's
absolutely.
a team captain type of guy that you want in your locker room.
Absolutely. How about this? Let's stay in the linebacker room. How about this? How about Josiah Trotter?
Okay.
Or Keyshaun Elliott out of Arizona State.
Okay, I think you and I have the biggest disagreement probably on Elliott. I'm going Trotter here at 6'2".
Do you think that you're not a fan of Elliott?
It's tough. I just wonder how well can he run. That's it for me. And you look at it, and he's so productive. 6'2", 231 out of Arizona State. The 3 games I watched, physically he looks like a linebacker.
Yeah.
He's kind of like your throwback, like put a neck roll on this dude
Sure.
and brought him out there. Like I love the way he looks. I just think he's kind of stiff in his hips. When he has to change direction, it just doesn't look good, but he's super tough. He keeps playing, tracks down the ball. He's a guy that's going to play through the whistle. He can play the quarterback spy, high football IQ. I just think physically he's a little slow to always get, he sees it, but body-wise, like I don't know that he's fast enough to always get to the mark to where he needs to be.
Okay.
But you look at, led the team with 98 tackles, 14 TFLs, 7 sacks. He's one of just 2 players in college football this year to record 90 or more tackles, 14 or more tackles for loss, and 7+ sacks. So it's tough because production-wise, it's like this dude is a stud.
Yeah.
But between the two, I think Josiah Trotter, if he can just improve in coverage, has a chance to be an absolute star.
How do you think he is as an athlete? I mean, I'm not Trotter. Excuse me. Just going back on
Elliott.
On Elliott.
Man, I mean, he was football, basketball, track in high school, won the state championship in the 4x200 meters. So I would think that he's probably a solid athlete there.
Yeah, see, he had the 38 vertical and a 10.5 broad. Didn't do anything else at the combine.
Which would tell you there's explosiveness there.
Yeah.
I didn't
6'2",
feel like a
231, yeah.
explosive player.
Yeah.
But he is, it's just the lateral movement for me. And if he's got to flip his hips, turn and run, it's just like the sideline to sideline range is not quite where it needs to be, in my opinion.
Stacking him 4th round or 5th round?
I've got him in the 3rd.
Oh, you got Elliott
behind Josiah Trotter.
Okay. So you like Trotter better then?
I do.
Okay. I have Elliott over Trotter, and I really like Trotter. You know me. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe this. His dad's
No, excuse me. I do. I have Trotter over Elliott. My bad. I looked on my board on my stack, but I got them both like in that third round. But I like the physicality of Trotter a lot more.
He's super physical, and he's just 20 years old.
Yeah.
I think that we say this like his best football's ahead of him. I really believe it is.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you there at all. I really, really don't. How about this one?
What do we got?
How about Julian Neal, cornerback Arkansas, or Devin Moore, cornerback Florida?
This is funny because I got a bunch of buddies who went to Arkansas. And so I asked him when I was watching, I'm like, so what do you guys think of Julian Neal? He's like, Zach, you do realize Arkansas had historically one of the worst defenses in programs.
So you're saying that he was part of the historically worst defense?
Well, I think that he was the lone bright spot of a historically bad defense. But at 6'2", 203, I mean, he's a transfer from Fresno State, played 4 years there. He only played in 7 games his first 2 years. So he only started 16 of 42 career games. Yeah. So the majority of his playing time was all this year. But I do like the competitiveness and chippiness in which he plays with, and you need that as a corner. He's got the size. I love the way he breaks on the ball. I mean, he's really good at closing downhill. Really good, Brian.
Really
tight in man or in zone. Really good at challenging when the ball arrives. I think he's super competitive there. I like the back pedal. He can flip his hips and run. He can track the ball. I think he's got a good feel and instincts to come up and play around the line of scrimmage. He's just not a super big hitter. But he will get physical. The length is a problem. Uses the long arm really well to jar passes loose. He is a bit of a gambler, though, and that will hurt him. I mean, you see him at times, he'll bite on double moves, and then he's late to recover. So the defense was terrible that he played on, but I did like Julian Love. When it comes to Devin Moore, the corner from Florida, 6'3", 198, like I would think the Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom days would have a field day with this kid. He's long, rangy, constantly communicating. That was something that stood out to me. Like he is always communicating, talking to everybody else in the secondary, but he also will give up separation on double moves. I thought that was something with both of these guys. But the recovery speed, I actually thought was solid for Devin Moore, but he's just not the most aggressive guy coming up and filling.
Okay.
Like I didn't, he's kind of like, if I've got to come up and run support, I'll do it. But do I really want to do that? I don't know. But he is a guy that plays the ball well in the air. I think between the two, I actually lean Neal over Moore slightly.
Yeah, I went the other way on it. But the tags are touching right there. The problem with Moore that we need to really dive in on, and I think you got both players right. I think the thing that we need to dive in is Moore's had a lot of injuries in his career. He had a shoulder in 2022, a shoulder in 2024. He had a back problem, a concussion problem in 23. He did start 11 games in 25. And he does if he turns out to be healthy, he has a chance. This guy's a big time player with the length and the football IQ. But we're starting to see maybe the Cowboys are not like totally locked in on, oh wow, let's draft a 6'2", 198-pound corner.
Right.
Maybe it's like, let's draft guys that are maybe shorter, smaller, quicker that can cover. Because what's happening in the league, we're starting to see shorter, smaller wide receivers. So you got to be able to match up with.
It's amazing, the tiny DB renaissance, baby. It's alive and well.
You got to be able to cover in this league. All right, the final one before we get out of here. Then let's go to the defensive tackle room.
Okay.
And this is going to be your Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Wreck 'em.
Lee Hunter or Kaydon McDonald, who a lot of people think might be both these guys were kind of talked about as late one type of players.
I've actually seen for Kayden McDonald, Washington at 7.
Get out of here.
Is a sneaky team that could have an eye on him. Yeah, and I don't know. That was just like one beat writer. Like if that could be a name that's kind of flowing under the radar. I do love both of these guys, and they're both big boys. 6'3", 326 is what I had for McDonald. That might have changed. I don't think I've updated it since we got the official size. Same with Lee Hunter, 6'4", 330. Teammates call Lee Hunter the fridge there.
Yeah.
I love his hands. Like Lee Hunter's a trash can full of dirt kind of guy.
Yep.
He can play head up over the center, nose, or the one tech. He's incredibly difficult to move. I mean, I think that he's tremendous against the run, can stack and shed, take on double teams. Both of these guys, for their size, I do think can penetrate and tilt the line of scrimmage, which is impressive. But Kaydon McDonald, to me, overall, I think there's more to his game.
Sure.
I think that he's a little bit better of a pass rusher. And 8 tackles for loss and 3 sacks, not including what they did in the playoff. Incredible numbers for him. He's wide. He's also one of these guys that is very difficult to move, pushes the pocket, strong bull rush. It plays with leverage, and he recovers really well. So he's got a little bit more twitchiness to me than what Lee Hunter does. I like both guys, but I would take Kaydon McDonald slightly over Lee Hunter.
I got you there. How about this one? Have you seen Brandon Cleveland from North Carolina State?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you need to take a peek at Brandon Cleveland.
You like him better?
Well, we had this discussion. Myself and Vaj Lombardi had this discussion, and he is everybody's talking about the guys like we just did.
Yeah.
But it's Brandon Cleveland, North Carolina State, and he's 6'3", he's 307. When you watch him on tape, you would swear he's bigger than 307. I think that's right at the combine. I need to
maybe drop some weight so it could work out a little better.
But yeah, let's see what happened. Yeah, 6'3", 307. I'm looking here at the combine sheets. This guy plays like he's 320-something pounds. He doesn't get moved. So I'll be interested to see if you can have an idea about Brandon Cleveland.
What round did you put him in?
He's actually a 4th-round player, but he's kind of in the mix when you're starting to talk about the Corleones from Cincinnati, Jackson from Florida State. Those guys that are massive guys. This guy doesn't rush the passer, doesn't have that kind of that quick, but he's really, really, really strong. And I think he could play because of the size. You think, well, maybe he could play some 3, but he's not as quick. But man, you talk about like playing like he's 320 pounds. It's Brandon Cleveland from North Carolina State would be a guy that you need to take a peek at. All right. Anything else you need to visit with?
No, I think that's. These were tough ones overall, but I think that. Hey, we can keep rolling if you want to, but I'm good.
No, I tell you what, that was that I was when you get down to, and I think I've asked you and Aisha the question about who you would pick at the 392, the 3rd round 92. Yeah. And that I think that's going to be some of these guys that we're starting to talk about. Would you rather? These are the guys you're going to kind of need to know about. We talk about a lot of the 1st-round guys, but there's going to be some guys we've got some time as we get into this more and more and more. Our list of guys gets a little deeper, and we could kind of just maybe have an idea of who that we would absolutely love there at that 3rd-round pick. I think that's going to be a really important pick. I'd love to see actually Dallas move that pick to Minnesota.
Go get that Bernard the edge.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Sure.
But they're not going to do that, I don't think. But anyway. All right. Well, that'll do it for us for the day for the stack. Again, Miss Daisha Morrison.
Love you too, I.
She will be back with us next week for my guy, Zach Wolchuk, for Zach Rowe in the back as well, and Jacob Ray as well. We'll see you next week with the stack. If you need any information about Crown Global Media, you want to know where the shows are, you want to know what all we're doing, you want merch. Matter of fact, I was told that we're going to have a limited run on the NFL is a Strange Lady t-shirts.
Boom.
Limited run. So when
Okay.
we finally got it where we need it. We're gonna have a limited run.
Awesome.
So if you want one of these shirts, I'm gonna wear one and show you what it looks like. But when they go online, you better go grab them because they're a limited run.
Okay.
Gonna be limited. Okay, we'll do that. But that's gonna be on our merch. We'll do all that again. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Again, also want to say thank you for everybody out there that's reached out to me about the passing of my mom. All the well wishes, the words, all those, the prayers, the thoughts, everything. It's really appreciated. So, again, for Zach Wolchuk, I'm Bryan Broaddus. We'll see you next time on The Stack.